Is there a point in time in which you feel you'll stop being like a worthless piece of crap and get in the gym?
It's January 2020.
It's February now, man.
Oh, yeah. I don't know.
I mean, that like just happened. The groundhog just
that's
came
right.
out.
Maybe next election cycle. That seems like a good time to start. It's like a new, fresh beginning for everyone.
You trying to tell me you're going to base your physical fitness on cycles?
Oh, that's... I don't like where you went with that.
But you got it though,
No
right?
no need to allege things, Pete.
Allege, assert, imply.
Hey, take it however you want. A buddy of mine may or may not have asked another friend of mine this weekend if I was, that.
Seeking help.
Yeah,
in the gym.
if I preferred enhancement.
Like natural male enhancement?
I've also been curious about getting some natural male enhancement pills just to see what it does, man.
Duration, size, strength.
Yeah, there's
ejaculate.
there's a ejaculoid is a thing we used to sell at Vitamin Shop for natural male explosion. That's what it says on the bottle. I used to wonder, like, does this work?
I still wonder, like, at some point in time, you ever think that girls have been together and they're like, you know what, my boyfriend, oh my God, you would not believe the explosion.
I don't know. Yeah, exactly. I don't know. Is this a question girls have?
Other women were just envious, like, oh my God.
I know women have more in-depth discussing conversation about this stuff than men do.
You're right, and they act like they don't.
Yep.
Men are very superficial.
Totally true. I used to watch The Bachelor with 3 girls. Trust me.
Oh, we're back on you being a tool watching
I'm just
The Bachelor.
saying, yeah, exactly. But that's besides the point, man.
Yeah, we were talking about you finally deciding to pick up some weights.
Yes, so I lift.
Do you, though?
Obviously, at Jacob in 2012. It's obvious I lift, Pete. And my diet, pretty on point. But it wasn't always that way.
There was a time where you looked even more like crap?
There were many years, Pete, where I looked like crap. So technically my story starts lifting at 23 years old. That was 23 wasted years before.
Kind of a late bloomer.
Yeah, I could have been doing push-ups 4 or 5 months old, and I wasn't.
Wouldn't that throw off your bowling arm?
Yeah, who knows? What if I'd never started bowling? What if I'd started lifting?
Come on, man. You weren't cut out for it.
And why is I might have a jacked right arm. Like the arm wrestling people that I've met.
Or you should just keep getting heavier and heavier bowling balls. You'd be good to go.
Like a 55-pound right arm bowling ball. So anyway.
You would crush pins.
You would think so. Yeah. Pinheads wouldn't let me bowl there anymore. By the way, we're returning to Pinheads this summer. White River Wrestling. Follow us at White River Wrestling. Anyway. So yeah, Pete, I started professional wrestling at 17 years old. But I did not start lifting and working out until I was 23 years old. So I was a schmuck for at least those 6 years.
At minimum, yeah.
Yeah, at least those 6 years. I'm even going to say I was a schmuck for saving 6 years before that. From my formative years to 23, schmuck.
Your formative years.
Yeah, like 11, 12,
Back when boys become men.
Yeah, exactly. Middle school when you're going through stuff. Hormones are at an all-time high.
You're exploring ejaculoid at the vitamin shop.
Exactly. Oh, man, what would you do what would that happen if you gave that to kids that hadn't hit puberty yet? Anyway, let's change the subject. Anyway, so straight up, the story of my lifting starts just a few days before my senior year of college, Pete. Legitimately, I woke up one day, 6 years into the wrestling business, and realized if I don't look like a superstar, I'm never going to make $1 million.
No, that's not the bullcrap cliche phrase you used.
Yeah, I said I legit woke up and thought, if I don't look like $1 million, I'll never make $1 million.
There you go, Tool.
That's the worst cliche BS ever, but that was legit the first thought in my head when I woke up that morning.
And that's what's tattooed on your lower back, right?
Yeah, exactly. That's why I always hike the back of my jeggings up over it so people don't see it. Yeah, I legit, for years I thought I had tried to diet and lift, but I would like try a diet and then fall off after like a week. And then I would go work out and I would fall off after like a week because I was a weak little jabron that just didn't have it in me.
Well, no one's arguing with you. I mean,
Yep.
Clearly.
Also, working out and dieting seemed like crazy foreign concepts I could never understand.
Well, to be fair, Instagram didn't exist back then. Like, had you had the Instagram, you'd have known.
I'd have been following jack dudes who talked about how natural they are, and I should do 1,000 crunches a day, and maybe that would have seemed easy to me, and I would have done it.
Yeah. If this guy could do it, surely you could do it.
Yeah, there's nothing different from me and
Mr. Spectacular.
Chris Bomstead. Yeah,
either way.
Exactly. So, yeah, a series of things all happened. I was closing in on my senior year of college, the Colts had just redone, or Anderson University, where I went, had just redone their gym to try and lure the Indianapolis Colts back for training camp.
They're a cruel temptress.
Yeah. So it looked awesome because they were trying to steal the Colts back, because AU had the Colts for training camp for a while. Then they left. Then they were trying to lure them back.
Because there's just something about the Skanks and Terre Haute that made them want to go there.
So the Indianapolis Colts, metaphorically, are giant sluts. Like, they're big teases. Because, like, they went to AU for a long time, right? And, like, dated AU and trained there. And then they left for Terre Haute. And then AU was like, hey, we want them back for some reason, even though they played with our heart. And they got them back with, like, money and stuff. And then they left again.
Yeah, but man, Westfield's hard to compete with. That Grand Park's pretty swell.
I mean, in theory, yeah, it looks pretty nice on the outside, but be careful when you dive behind the scenes.
You know from experience, I suppose.
Yeah, be careful. It looks pretty on the outside, but eventually the Colts are going to realize not a lot of substance there, and then they're going to leave them. Hopefully they come back to AU, because, you know, AU is the girlfriend the Colts just can't quit.
And you're going to be on the wall there one day.
I should be on the wall right now. What do I have to do on the alumni wall? Tweet Anderson University this.
I don't know. Maybe accomplish something.
I've accomplished many things.
Have you?
Yeah, I've accomplished so many countries.
Okay, but you've gone a lot of places.
I've been to Kurgan Hall.
But are you committed enough to put synthol in your arms?
It's not a good idea, man.
Then do you even want it, Jake? Do you even want it?
Synthol isn't practical for my business, man.
Dude, if you want to get signed, become a synthol beast.
Fine. Add multimedia muscle to buy the Synthol Beast t-shirt. Yeah, so all these things happen. Side note, as we're talking about the Colts, I may or may not work with a Colts cheerleader who'd mentioned that she wanted the Colts to get to the Super Bowl this year so she could get a Super Bowl ring. And I don't like that, Pete.
Why would a cheerleader get a Super Bowl ring?
Good question. You know who should get a Super Bowl ring? The players.
Right.
Yeah, I'm not even a huge fan of the family of the owners getting Super Bowl rings.
Nah, like I tell you what, front office, fine. Equipment manager, whatever.
Maybe.
I mean, they were there every day at least.
Mm-hmm.
Cheerleaders show up Sunday. They practice, they look good, sure, but come on.
Yeah, like, they're not really motivating. Plus, there's like a thing in contracts that say cheerleaders aren't supposed to mess around with players. So they're not even motivating them in that way.
Right. They're not. The players aren't going out there trying to perform because all for naught. It's not like Susie Cheerleader's going to go home with you. Contractually, she can't.
Exactly. Not going to happen, bro. So why should you get a Super Bowl ring? How many dues have you paid?
Wow. That's terrible.
Yeah. I should get a Super Bowl ring because I went to a WWE tryout full of NFL players. You know what I mean? Like, if one of those guys goes back to the NFL because they're not a failure anymore or something, do I get a Super Bowl ring because I helped such and such get in better cardiovascular shape and I motivated him?
Well, yeah. How about I bought a ticket to go to a game and I cheered really loud. Give me a ring.
Yeah, it's the same thing. The Chiefs won the Super Bowl, right? There's probably someone on that team that at some point had a WWE tryout. So maybe on some level, I could have indirectly or directly helped them get to where they are.
Are you going to tie this to your incredible physique? Was their motivation? Is that where this is going?
No. Okay, so I don't have an incredible physique. All right, back to this. Back to why I started lifting, Pete. Realized if I don't look like Randy Orton, I'm never going to make money like Randy Orton, right? So I was like, I better work out. I also have this great gym. I also had just read a book. And it was Triple H's book. No,
I've read first book.
I've read books before, okay? This set myself up. I read a lot. It was obvious I read a lot in high school because I was a fat little nerd, okay? So this obvious wasn't the first book I read. This was the first legitimate one I've read about nutrition and exercise, though.
And Stephanie McMahon.
Yes, she was in it. So I read Triple H's book, which is half biography, half diet and exercise plan, because he was a teen bodybuilder and everything like that. So while I thought that all these really hard workouts and numbers and rep schemes and sets were super confusing and macros and diets were super confusing, Triple H wrote it in about the simplest terms ever.
Don't eat like shit, lift weights.
Kind of. That's pretty much what it boiled down to. But then he just told you, don't eat like shit. And then like, here's a few things you can eat. And then lift. And then he's like, and here's like the few things you can do.
And use synthol. That was in there, right?
That was not in there. That might have been in like the updated abridged version or unabridged version. But this one, probably New York Times bestseller, It's not. This one in here did not say anything about synthol or performance enhancing things.
But what did it tell you?
Pretty much it said, eat these 5-6 meals a day and do these lifts, this 4-day split, upper body, lower body. It was cake, bro.
And buy all my merchandise and protein?
I should, just because he got me started on that path. If he had been at my WWE tryout, I was thinking about like, hey, maybe should I go up to him and just say like, hey, man, your book actually made me lift and diet.
Show him the before. This used to be me.
Yeah.
And then I read your book. Ugh.
Well, what if I show him the before and the after and then he laughs at the after and it's like, huh, really? Like, oh, that's not very good.
What would that do to you?
I'd kill myself. What if he's like, wow, that's not a really good transformation, man.
This has been the last 15 years of my life.
Yeah, I'd be like, dude, I've been working really hard at this for 10 years. But he didn't show up to my tryout because he doesn't give a shit about wrestling, or whatever.
Man, you and Dylan all over the 3 H's.
Yeah, if any of my friends are aware, my friend Dylan Bosick may or may not have, he did tweet Triple H just F you. And you know what? I thought about retweeting it. I didn't. I thought about it. I did retweet his, my whole life was wrestling and it was one big disappointment. That I retweeted that tweet. I feel that way. Anyway, Triple H's book actually made it all seem pretty normal. So a few days before my senior year, I just decided I'm going to become a freak beast, Pete. And I'd never looked back. I also, at the last second, signed up for what I thought was an advanced physical conditioning course in college.
Wait, wasn't it an advanced physical conditioning course that you signed up for?
Technically, yes.
I mean, literally, yes.
Yeah, it was. Literally.
Yeah, so what's the problem?
Yeah, so the problem, which wasn't a real problem, was that I showed up on day one. I'm there like 15 minutes early because I'm always early. It's a 7 a.m. class, too.
Early, premature, they're synonymous.
Yeah. Well, back to ejaculoid. So I'm standing around. There were legit 20 dudes, 20 other college dudes, all in their gym gear, in a big group, hanging out, talking to each other. And then I'm standing a few feet away, and they all just keep looking at me, man. What's wrong? Then 2 dudes walk in. They look like, oh, obviously these guys are the instructors. And they walk up to me, and they just take a look. And the first one is like, you must be Jacob.
Jacob, yes.
Yeah. So I'm like, yeah, man, how do you know that? Because I'm like, it's day one. Like, how do you know my name? He's like, because this is the baseball conditioning class. You signed up for the baseball conditioning class.
Look, if it's an option to sign up for, why is that a question? Hey, It was open. I signed up for it. What's the problem?
Yeah, I signed up for an open gym class. And but obviously it's one of those classes made just for athletes to sign up for. So they probably get an easy A, right?
I would assume.
Yeah. And it also, I guess, holds them accountable to actually lift in the morning.
That's how you got your first A, huh?
But it's like, yeah, it's pretty much practice. But then I signed up for it because I knew, oh, if I sign up for a class, I'm going to show up and work hard because I have to get an A. Because throughout my whole life, my dad just let me know, you get A's. Like before my first day at school, he was just like, hey, just so you know, get A's.
Well, and he did buy you a Firebird. You will forever be in his debt.
We split it. Yeah. It was really cheap.
I mean, come on.
Yeah, I know. I was still like 16. But so I just, in school, through my whole life, I just got A's, bro. Because my dad might murder me if I don't.
You know, I've met your dad. I have interacted with your dad. He seems like a chill guy.
Probably hard to believe, isn't it?
Well, no, I do believe he might murder you if you don't get A's.
Yeah, exactly. He is a chill dude. But the fear of God was struck in me. He's not a yelling man.
He's a murdering man.
Yeah, he's a look at you very intensely, you know what happens kind of guy. He doesn't need to tell you. I think that's scarier.
Yeah. Your imagination is always worse than reality.
Yeah, the person who spits a big game about murdering you, that's the guy you think might not. Right? Like,
yeah.
You feeling froggy, bro?
Well, let's be honest. To get a lady like your mom, your dad had to be somebody at some point.
So I signed up for the baseball conditioning course. And he's like, yeah, this is a baseball conditioning course. You signed up for the baseball conditioning course. I said, is that a problem?
Now, you said it more authoritatively, like in his face. Is that a problem?
Yeah, no, I didn't look this good yet. Nowadays, I would have like tried to make him feel small, puffed out my chest, my huge chest, but I didn't because I was tiny and weak. So I was like, yeah, is that a problem? And I'll never forget the exact thing he said. Do you want to get bigger, stronger, and faster?
Oh, shit. Wrong class, man. Sorry.
I was like, so I was like, yeah. He's like, then you're in the right class. Let's do this thing.
Really?
Yes. And then we started training. And then he gave everyone a packet, which were the exercises to do. A lot of them were baseball specific. So there were some stretches that really hit the hip flexors, and there was a lot of stuff that involved torso rotation and shoulders. So a few weeks later, and it was Coach Presley. He was the man. So he was very helpful. They taught me how to do anything I didn't know how to do. Usually I just Google it though before I went in to do the workout. And then a few weeks into class, he came up to me. He's like, "Hey man, I heard that you're a professional wrestler." I was like, yeah, which is weird because I didn't talk to anyone in that baseball class. Like none of them talked to me either.
But the legend of Omen had already started.
Somebody told him, and I don't know who. Everyone probably just creeped me on Facebook or Instagram or something back in the day. I didn't have one of those.
Instagram didn't exist. Come on, man.
They probably creeped me on something. I don't know. Or one of their friends told them or something like, "Yeah, there's this weirdo in my class." And then they're like,
this creepy bastard with a beard. It's real weird.
Yeah. So he's like, "Oh, hey, man." So it's like, "That's what you're training for, right?" I'm like, "Well, yeah." He's like, "Oh, in that case, like, you don't need to be doing our stuff. We're doing baseball specific workouts." He's like, "You can come in and do your own thing." He's like, "As long as you come in and you work out, like you'll get an A." I was like, "Oh, cool." And I'd already in my free time, a little bit more than the class, been doing those Triple H lifts, which were upper body Monday and Thursday, lower body Tuesday, Friday. And then one was 6 to 8 rep range. The other was 8 to 10 or 10 to 12. So I'd already been doing that. So I just started doing that every day.
Why were all of his exercises? Why did they start on your knees?
Yeah. I don't know, but it worked for him. He runs the company now. A lot of surrenders. So, yeah, man, I rocked that class for the next like 4 or 5 months, and I got this like great like lifting routine down. I got my diet down. Oh, I also bought, so in Triple H's book, he said he had like 2 protein shakes a day, right? It's probably the key to his huge.
The key to his huge.
The key to his
protein shakes.
So he used to use Universal Nutrition milk and egg protein. And so legit, I was like, well, I'm investing in the long haul. So I got online and I bought this tub. I don't remember if it was 10 or 20 pounds, but it came in this gigantic painter's bucket with one of those handles that's like the wire and then the big, like the plastic piece on the end, like a jumping rope from high school. And, you let it down and it goes clank, clank. But yeah, so I ordered a 10 or a 20 pound thing of Universal milk and egg protein for like $120 or something like that.
That's like a month's salary for you.
Yeah, back then it was. Back then it was a lot of wrestling shows because I was a small little schmuck and people don't pay for a small little schmuck. Now I could buy several of those with one wrestling appearance, dude. It's cool.
Now I could have so many tubs. You don't even know.
I could have so much milk and egg protein. And I was like, well, I'm going to use this.
Cash poor, but protein rich.
Yeah. Ooh, I like that. Cash poor, protein rich. That's a shirt that won't sell.
Yes.
Which will keep me cash poor and protein rich. So I was like, yeah, man, now I have to use it. So I followed his simple diet and I followed the workouts. And then 5 months later, I made a habit. The next semester, I didn't even have that class. And I just kept lifting. Boom, 10 years later.
Well, where are you 10 years later?
Looking good. I look like a dude that gets asked if he's on steroids.
Well, we've talked about this so many times. You know that's solely because of your disproportionate triceps.
That's fine. That's why I'm going to angle and flex my tries as hard as I can in every IG pic.
All right, production note, and a note to all you listeners. Jake is actually fat. It's all about angles. All of his photos are taken from his best side.
I don't have abs, if that's what we're getting at. I don't have abs.
That's not what I was
currently. Yeah.
I was just going to Jake is actually like 400 pounds. He just sucks in his gut, and the lighting's good.
I have a great vacuum. That's what they call when you suck in your midsection. Like, you ever see Arnold suck in and vacuum?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like you can suck in so far, like almost you see the outline of your vertebra from the front. Like you can see spine on someone with a good vacuum. I'm almost there.
That's the key to looking swole.
Yep, a good vacuum.
And Triple H's exercise.
It also helps for a few other things.
Sir.
Anyway, that's the story of how I started lifting. So I have a wrestling trainee now. And I was telling him this story on the way home the other night. I was like, man, if I'd started lifting at 17, I would have at least 6 more years of advancement on this. And then that was when I was my most hormone dense anyway at 17 years old. Like, I really wasted time. So now I'm trying to get everyone to lift as young as possible.
Like that dude who was on the internet, the little child bodybuilder. I don't know where he is now. Probably like several surgeries and, what do you call that? When you jerk and whatnot and you get a...
Discs? Herniated disc? Bulging discs?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Several herniated surgeries later. And
I hope he looks great. I hope he doesn't look like Ronnie Coleman.
look, man,
Who
Ronnie
looks
Coleman,
bad.
as soon as you ditch the crutches, if he could stand erect, he'd still look like a beast.
He would look like a beast if he could stand. Yes, he just can't. I feel real bad about it.
What's funny is, I mean, if you've seen his documentary, which I'm sure you have, he's like, yeah.
It's on my list on Netflix. I haven't seen it yet.
Oh, man. He's like, yeah, I'm just lifting light. And he's still got like 3 dinner plates on each side of that bench bar, man.
I'm sure it looks great. Not like that dude you were telling me about from the gym.
Oh, man. This guy, everyone should aspire to be this guy. So he steps up to the bar, right? The squat rack. He addresses the bar, takes a step back, tightens the belt, man, because you don't want to hurt yourself.
Mhm.
And then he cracks open smelling salt. So he could go ahead and squat 225 pounds.
He hit it though. Yeah.
What a friggin' tool.
How many reps?
3.
Hell yeah.
Those salts powered him through
That's-
3 reps at 225.
That's my dude. Oh, story for another day. But one of my trainees has an idea for my other trainee's character, which would be like just a gym douchebag. He's got to do that at some point. The smelling salt thing.
Like Dom Mazzetti of The Ring.
Yeah, kind of. That's kind of what we're going for here. Story for another day, though.
Sounds like a good.
All right, so everybody just start lifting and dieting. It's pretty easy. Like, I'll tell you the basics.
And buy a shitload of protein.
Oh, yeah, Celtec. Yeah, lots of Celtec. No, don't buy that. Just
Hashtag
protein.
not sponsored.
Yeah, I'm not. But if Celtec wants to sponsor me, I'll take it. But yeah, let's go at Multimedia Hustles, Pete. At Jake in 2012 is Jake. And then at Off the Cliff Pod is us. And we'll catch you next week.